Sukuigar, everyone. It's Nazo again. Uh, an aspect has come up from the Star Wars fandom that I feel needs to be addressed because I think it's an important issue, and it is that some expanded universe fans do not consider the Disney era of Star Wars to be official or otherwise Star Wars. Now, as I am myself a huge fan of the expanded universe, and it is still to this day my Star Wars canon of choice, I have to disagree heavily with this sentiment that the Disney era of Star Wars is not Star Wars, as there are many themes in it that even exist in the expanded universe as well that don't really, I would say, contradict the general themes of Star Wars. Now, keep in mind, I don't mean every product is like this, because there's obviously a few that I think do not get the themes correct, and frankly don't get stories correct. But I think it's an incorrect assessment to say that Disney Star Wars canon, or Disney Star Wars in general, is not Star Wars. I think a more logical assessment would be is that it's not necessarily all good Star Wars. And to be fair, the same could be said for certain works in the expanded universe. But let me get to the crux of what I'm trying to talk about here, and is that I see EU fans go around from time to time, and I know some are just messing around because they're happy where they are, and I've seen it on Twitter before. Some they may come off as mean, but they're just messing around because they don't think Twitter's a real... That's fine. They don't think Twitter's a place. That's fine. It's just a place for them to mess around. But where I fundamentally disagree is how they treat fans of the current Star Wars era. And I believe it is because of this treatment that many people in the expanded universe fandom get such a negative reputation. And obviously Lucasfilm doesn't help, because let's face it, they practically live off of the hate fuel that either comes from one group of fans or another, and waging us against each other. But what really bothers me is how negatively expanded universe fans are kind of associated. And that's partially due to expanded universe fans. Now, I get it. Some expanded universe fans will never touch a Disney product, and I will never like a Disney Star Wars, and I will never fault them for that. Because, you know, it's if they try to get into that lore, that universe, in any sense, it's just going to frustrate them. Because it's just going to remind them of what they no longer have. And by that, I don't mean like, oh, you still got your old books and comics, you know, nobody's taking anything from you. I mean, can we please not resort to that sort of blanketed way of thinking? It's not that the stuff we don't have isn't there. It's the fact that our stories that we have been invested in for years now are being completely ignored and reused and recycled for the current canon as though they never mattered before to begin with. And this may sound like rambling, obviously, because again, I'm trying to show you the point of view of why EU fans are so embittered. Because whether some want to acknowledge it or not, some of the current canon fans in the early days were very rude to expanded universe fans. And you should never fight hatred with hatred in that regard. But I can completely understand why they feel jaded as they do. Because they feel like they were the product, the customer, the people that kept the brand alive. Even though the one person keeping the brand alive for years had been George Lucas and his wealth. But they felt as though they were keeping the brand and the stories going. And the fact of the matter is, many of them feel insulted, feel like they've been cast aside because of the new Disney content. And, I mean, we all kind of knew that when Disney purchased Star Wars from George Lucas, Lucasfilm in general from George Lucas, that the expanded universe was likely to be decanonized so they could make new movies, new shows, new ideas. And in some cases they have, but in most cases they've just borrowed, or I'll use the more harsher term, plagiarized from other expanded universe stories that were better written, at least in my opinion, and better, more well thought out and planned out and executed during the days of the expanded universe. But in my opinion, the crux of the problem, and this is a problem that I haven't run into in recent years, and the reason why I haven't to it is because I'm very civil with most fans of the Disney era of Star Wars. I've got a few friends among them, and many of them have checked out stories from the expanded universe based on my recommendations, because, you know, I'm not sure how many people are familiar with this expression. We probably are, but you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. And the problem is that most expanded universe fans are throwing out vinegar because some people like some of the shows or movies from the Disney era of Star Wars. And it's because of that that we are sort of seen in such a negative light. And I mean, that's not a problem for me, but it's a problem for a lot of other people. And these folks could have a better time of it, would probably be more open to checking out stories from the EU if, well, I'm sorry to say it, but if we expanded universe fans weren't such jerks about it. And again, I understand where they're coming from. I understand where their anger and bitterness, that a lot of them have the never forgive and never forget mentality. And I'm sorry to have to say this, but you guys just come off as jerks. And you make expanded universe fans who want people to check out our classic stories, want adaptations of our work, of our favorite expanded universe stories, whether was it like in animated form or something like that, or have stories continued from the expanded universe. It's because of that nobody will check it out. Because sadly, at least on most social media platforms, when you look at expanded universe fans, the first thing to come to mind is an angry fat guy with a beard screaming at you over a keyboard. And to be fair, there are fans of the Disney canon that absolutely fit that description, although you might more refer them as the soy jack meme, where it's they just consume whatever Disney or Lucasfilm throws in front of their plate, even if it's absolute garbage. But the thing that I'm trying to get across is, would it really kill you to be nicer to some of these people? You don't have to be nice to the people that are openly hostile, because they're openly hostile. But rather than taking a dump on some of the Star Wars things that they've loved, and keep in mind, some of these people, they just love Star Wars. They don't care about canon or continuity or lore. A lot of them aren't like me in that regard. But the reality and the fact of the matter is that because you keep throwing vinegar instead of honey, because you keep taking massive dumps on the Star Wars that they love, regardless of the quality, we can talk about quality of the livelong day, because you tell them that's not Star Wars, that's fake Star Wars, that's garbage, that's because of that is exactly why they want nothing to do with you. That is the exact reason why they want nothing to do with you. People are more willing to check out something that you like if you are not coming from a hostile point of view. If they already perceive you as a threat or as a hostile thing, guess what? They're not going to listen to you, no matter how much you call them shill or AI or what. It won't matter, okay? Whether we like the Disney Star Wars products or not, they are going to be here long after us. Just like the expanded universe stories will continue to exist long after we're gone. You know, these aren't going away anytime soon. And new fans will find each universe. But the core problem as to why nobody wants to look into the expanded universe is because expanded universe fans, especially top, like, lore people, like, they have not shown themselves in the best light. I'm now, keep in mind, I'm not saying you can't be yourself or you can't be honest, because, you know, I know some people just generally come off like that they're just generally aggressive, at least in vibe, and that's not entirely their fault, that's just kind of the way they are. And so, to Disney fans, I would say, just try not to take it too hard when they're harsh like that. But to EU fans, like, please, for the love of God, could you try to be nice? Would it kill you to be nice? Would it literally kill you to try and say, oh, you know, that was an okay show, that was an okay movie, that was an okay... You don't even have to like it, you can just be nice. Good Lord. And, you know, like, I'm not saying lie or anything, because I'm not, obviously not advocating for that. But, you know, like, oh, you know, that could have been illustrated better. There's ways you can talk about something without taking a massive dump on it. There's ways you can get a point across that you're like, well, I prefer the expanded universe because I think the stories are better written there. I feel like the continuity is stronger. So anyway, this is just a little ramble, little rant about my thoughts on this whole situation. I think you need to try. And I know it's a do or do not. There is no okay, you know, usual Star Wars nonsense. But the point I'm getting at is you need to try not coming at these people like a know-it-all snob. Anyway, that's all the time I have today for this sort of rant, I guess. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good day. May the Force be with you. Oh, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, click the bell, like, share, subscribe. Hopefully some of you enjoy my content. At least I hope some of you enjoy my... Well, I appreciate anybody who, you know, comes in and sticks around. Alright, thank you again. Bye-bye.
Yeah.